Let me know when you see the screen, okay?
Yeah, I'm able to see it. We can start.
Okay. This is the flow process. Are you able to see the slide?
Yes, yes, I can see the slide.
Okay. So we have discussed till the loading of data till base object here.
Right.
Okay. So we get data from source system. Okay. And the data will be loaded into landing table. The landing here the stage job is there. The stage job loads the data into stage table. Okay. In between, if we have any cleanse functions, that cleanse functions will be used. So I will explain you cleanse functions. Cleanse functions are nothing but like how we use regularly in ETL, like cleaning of data, like removing any special characters or making lookup, or it could be any like making lookup with other tables, or else like concatenation of any columns, those things. Okay. So in case if any data rejections happens, so those data will be loaded into reject table. And if we have the audit trail enabled, the data will be loaded into raw table automatically. This will be performed automatically by MDM. Okay. Once the data enters into the stage table, we will run the load process. That load process, what it will do, it takes the data from stage table and loads into the base object table. Okay. Um, so in meanwhile, parallelly, it loads the data into XREF table, any history tables, or else any support tables, and if any rejections happens, even in the reject table. Okay, parallelly. Till here, we have seen the data load process. Okay. And there is another process is there here. Um, Match and merge process. Okay. When we discuss about those sessions, I will explain you this load process. Okay. And there are a couple of this is sample data model. We'll look into that data model. We create one sample data model. Okay. And so this is how like the high level picture how we configure the tables. Okay. So this is customer category sort system, and we're loading into the landing table of customer category, and then stage table, and then category base object table. Like this, like how many tables we have, we load the data to that tables. Yeah. And here landing process. Okay. ATL, all these things I have explained you. So last update date, primary key. So last update is the default column which we get in landing table. Okay, that is the last updated at the source system level. So by using any of the ETL process, we load the data into landing table or SQL inserts, or it could be any application. And moreover, I have explained you contains full data set property, right? So it holds the full data, or else like it's the duty of ETL team or any other external team to load the data into the landing tables in incremental manner. So how the relationship will be configured between the base object tables, customer address, like based on row ID object. Even I will explain you this thing. And XREF tables, okay, how those are interrelated. Even the XREF tables are also linked with row ID object with corresponding base object table. Okay.
Okay.
So in XREF tables, I have explained you the couple of system columns: row ID XREF, row ID system, PK source object, row ID object, last update is source LUD. Source LUD is equivalent to the last update date of landing table. Last update date is nothing but just like at the XREF table entry, when the record got updated. And row id object, it's an foreign key relationship with the base object table, corresponding base object table. Okay. And pk source object, what we load into the staging table, that pk source object will be loaded here automatically. Okay, it's correspond unique to the corresponding source system. So if you take pk source object and row id system, you always we will get unique combination. Okay. And row id xref is the primary key. This is stage table. I have already explained you, like last update pk source object. Pk source object is the unique to the particular source system. Okay. Here we have to be very cautious here. How we create the mappings. Okay. So just remember that, like even will like while creation of the mappings, I will let you know. Okay, each and everything. So here, if you observe this slide, here in green color boxes, so there are some mappings. In red color box, there are some mappings. Just assume that. So here, one landing table can configure to one staging table. One landing table can configure to multiple staging tables. Okay, this will be allowed.
Okay.
Okay. So, and here I'll give you one more point also. So these stage tables belongs to same base object, or it could be multiple different base objects, because landing table is purely independent, whereas stage tables are dependent on base objects.
Base
Okay.
object. Okay.
Okay. This is still stage process. I am explaining you. This is still stage process. Okay. And if you come over here, multiple landing tables cannot be loaded into single stage table.
Okay.
Okay. So single stage table is nothing but, suppose if just consider it stage table name which we have created in previous sessions, that is c underscore s underscore some sfdc party underscore m is there, right? So that stage table cannot be loaded by multiple landing tables. You know
Okay.
the reason why? Once we use the stage table in mapping, that stage table again
Destroy.
cannot be used. Okay.
Okay.
It will not display in the mapping section if you want to create new mapping.
Okay.
Okay. That is the reason. So multiple landing tables cannot be loaded in single stage table, whereas single landing table can be loaded in multiple staging tables.
Mhm.
Okay. So in interviews, people may ask, okay, um, for an base object, so how many landing tables can be present? It could be one or more than one. Okay, depends upon the business requirement.
Hmm.
Okay, whereas one more question they will fire at you. So a staging table can be loaded by multiple landing tables. If they ask you, you should say no, that it does not possible. Once the staging table configured for a mapping, that's it. Like, we cannot use the staging table in another mapping.
Right.
Okay, so that is the one more point. Okay, even there are some workarounds are there. We can do some workarounds. Okay, so what would be the workarounds? Like, we can create one cleanse function. In the cleanse function, we use some tables and we can retrieve the columns. Okay, that is the different scenario. That is
Mhm.
in a different scenario. But if you take the whole sum, this is the one. Okay, a single staging table cannot be loaded by multiple landing tables. Okay, so why they ask these questions is like, so many people, they they look at the MDM videos and they started attending the interviews. So until unless if we have any real time experience, then only we can say that, okay, these things. Otherwise, like if we look at the videos, I can say like we can create this mappings like this, like so and so, blah blah. If I say like that, definitely, like, you may think that this is the scenario we follow, and if they pose some tricky questions like this, we'll get stuck, right? So
Yes.
these are a couple of interview questions. Yeah, one landing table can be used for multiple staging tables. Okay, multiple landing tables cannot be used for single stage table. Okay, and and moreover, moreover, so here the stage tables are dependent on base object only. So in party base object, I have three stage tables. In address base object, I have three stage tables. We cannot combine the party stage table and address stage table. Okay, and moreover, that landing table, suppose one landing table is loading the party data, and the same landing table we cannot use for loading in address stage table. Why? Because this landing table are like configured for party columns, right? So that party columns will not be present in address table. So that might be the reason we can say that some people may shoot one question that like how can one landing table loads multiple stage tables. So in like if they shoot that question, you have to explain in this way. Okay, so stage tables means like whichever the stage table satisfies the columns present in the landing table, we can directly map those landing tables. Okay, it doesn't matter anything. Okay, multiple landing tables cannot be configured to single stage table. That's it. Okay,
Okay.
so here stage to base object. I like a couple of times I have already told you, right? Like stage tables are always dependent on base object, dependent on base object. Okay,
Mhm.
a stage table can load a base object. Multiple stage tables can load a base object, but multiple stage tables, like multiple stage tables of multiple base object cannot load into single base object, or else single stage table cannot be loaded into multiple base objects. Okay, what is the reason? Always a stage table associated to one base object only. Okay, base object contains stage tables. Okay, those are dependent on base object only, but stage tables are not independent like landing tables. That's why this cross combination will not be allowed. Even you cannot see that thing. Okay, I already shown you, right? The base object, under the base object only we will create the stage tables.
Staging table, correct.
Yeah,
Yes.
so single stage table cannot be split, like cannot be accessed by multiple base objects.
Okay. We can have similar, but not the same, exact same.
Yeah, yeah, like if you want another stage table, then under that base object definitely you we have to create the stage table.
Correct. Yes.
Okay, this is one more question they ask. Mm, this is the mapping, how they are mapped. Okay, even we'll look into that. Okay, this is the sample like I already shown you, right? I have explained you enable condition for filter to pull that particular source system records, and enable listening. Suppose we have any duplicate values, we can that mapping, particular mapping can read distinct values. How we embed that distinct function in SQL query. Um, we can I already told you, right? We can use some claims functions. Okay, in interviews, people may ask you, have you used address doctor or anything? So address doctors, like nowadays what they are doing is address doctor is an a service. It's in a particular tool provided by Informatica. What it do is address doctor, it validates the addresses and standardize the addresses. Okay, so we may get different addresses, right? We don't know whether that address is in correct standard format or not, right? So it will adjust that address formats. Okay, so for that we use address doctor. Okay, like Trillium, and mostly we use address doctor. Okay, in combination with Informatica data quality. So inside the data quality tool, we pull the address doctor, and like we process the data, standardize the address data, and then loads into the MDM landing tables. Okay, so we have to tell the interviewers that. So have you configured address doctor, or else like do you have knowledge on address? Then you have to say that I know address doctor, but it has been implemented at the data quality layer, ETL level layer. So like in MDM, we are not using that. So we are MDM receives the standardization of address information um, from the data quality layer. So in the data quality layer itself, like we are like team has implemented address doctor. Okay?
Okay.
So we like in MDM, like always we pass the data in cleansed format only. Okay, the clean data only will pass into the MDM application. So in within MDM, we don't do the cleanse operations mostly. Okay,
Okay.
this is one of the cleanse operation. So when we get that thing, I will explain you. Okay, so when I'll explain you the cleanse operation, and at that time I'll explain you. So these are the details. Okay, let's connect into the.
I can start practicing in the same databases that you are
Yeah,
using,
you
right?
can practice. You can take anything, CMX or RS or BUMC, CMX, anything you can take. Even you can take CMX or nothing will happen. The password is same Tiger only. Okay,
Okay.
you can take any one database. Okay, and just start creating the base object table, stage tables, and configuring the mappings, and just know about the system columns. What are their significances? So what are the status values like consolidation indicator, hub state indicator, all those things. Okay, and
Okay.
I'll explain you like how the data loads into, like already I have explained you how the data loads into the base object table, right?
Yes.
Today what we will do is we will um create few more stage tables, and even we'll create one more table that acts as a child to this party M table. Okay, and
Okay.
once after I will explain you the parent and child data load, then we will create one data model, sample data model. Okay, this is our base object table. Let's use that function. So we have only one stage tablet. Let's create few more. Contact display name. Stage will take our SFTC. The stage SFTC. Party M. SFTC party underscore M. one more table with CRM space CRM article. And even these sessions are being recorded. You can again rehear those sessions. Okay.
Yes, yes, I follow that pattern. When we have session afterwards, next day
Okay.
or after day 2 days, I again go through entire session.
Okay. So we have created three stage tables. Okay. And let's create one more one base object table. So for address. Okay. Base object. Base object. And then yeah. Okay. So in most of the projects, we'll have the notation CBO. So I'm following that. So we have created one base object table. One base object table we have created. Let's create some columns. So just think that like what type of columns present in address. Address line one. Okay. And address line one. Address line one. Then street city state country. And then zip code. Zip code. So these are the columns, and we need one more column, that is foreign key column. Okay. So how this address, like if we want to add relationship between these two tables, we need one foreign key column, right, in the child table. So I'm taking one. So here party FK. Okay. Party FK, and it's char 14, because party FK we are going to relate the address table with party row ID object. So now we have created these many columns. Let's save it. Okay. And we'll go to the relationships here. Already there are two relation couple of relationships exist. I think I have explained you this, right? For
Yeah,
consolidation indicator, row ID system, cross reference. Okay.
yeah.
Just click plus symbol. So here it is displaying the objects which are available in the our ORS. Okay. So select any one of the column. Here the data type should get match, and in the base object table it displays the columns which are having unique or primary key.
Primary
So
key.
in base object we have primary key as a row ID object. That's why it is displaying. Otherwise, like if you have any unique column, then also it will display. Okay.
Okay.
So I'm adding relationship, selecting both the columns. Click OK. Here you'll see one more entry.
Okay.
Okay. So the description, how it is related. Okay. Whichever the relationship which we create, this is purely virtual. If you go at the database level, you won't see these type of relationships, parent and child relationship. Nothing, you won't find anything. This is purely at the MDM level. Okay,
Okay.
whereas at the ETL level, if you create any relationships, parent and child, like primary key, foreign key relationships, you'll see that one added link, right? You won't see those things at the database level. Only at the tool level we can see
Okay.
how it is related. Okay? It's related to system, party table, and address cross reference table, all these things. Okay, now we have added the relationship, and let's quickly we will create three stage tables for, because in the base object party we have three stage tables from the three source systems, right? So we'll create three stage tables of that particular source system, and it is up to the business requirement. Suppose like address field we are getting only from CKR and CRM, then we can create two stage tables only. Okay, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Stage CKR address. Yep. And values. SFDC. SFDC address. Yep. I'm selecting all the columns. Hmm. Here I have created two stage tables, right? Hmm. Go to the column section. Here, if you click here, we are able to see one pencil symbol, that is edit, and here all are disabled. Okay, why here we are seeing this feature is this column is related to some other table. That's why here it is displaying this pencil symbol. What we do over here is, see, if you observe here, lookup system, lookup table, lookup column. We have added relationship. Okay, that means like we are telling to MDM that this party FK column is related with row ID object of party table.
Hmm.
Okay, so here if we, even if you see the symbol, this is the related symbol. So when we load the data, so it doesn't accept the data because here we haven't configured anything, right? So it simply loads the data, but in regular scenarios, like if you consider the foreign key and primary key relationship at the database table level, whenever we load the data into the child table, that particular foreign key column always interacts with the primary key column of parent table, and if the value exists, then only it loads the data into the table, right?
Right.
Okay, so here also we have created relationship, but we didn't tell to the MDM that to look up those values based upon particular source system. So here this stage table belongs to the CKR source system. Okay. So here what we are forcing to MDM is make lookup only on that particular source system. Okay. So click pencil symbol. So here it displays only the tables which are related to this address.
Okay.
Okay. So here we have two things, two tables are there. One is base object, one is cross reference. Okay. Cross reference and base object. If you see here, if I click row ID object, it is not displaying any source system, lookup source system. If I click over here, it is displaying the source system. So here, why it is displaying is like, I will explain you while when we create the landing table and loading the data into the child tables. Okay, the difference. So here, this we are configuring with the primary key source object. Okay, I told you, right, primary key source object is unique to the particular stage table.
Yeah.
Okay, so here this stage table belongs to CKR source system, right? So that's why whenever we use cross reference column, then only here the source system column will be displayed. So that means whichever the data comes into this stage address table, it makes lookup with the parent cross reference records along with the source system. So if there is just understand, like just assume that in party table we have some data of CKR source system. Okay,
Okay.
those are the parent records. Now it's our duty to load the data into the child table. So how can we load the data into child table if we have parent and child relationship, like primary key foreign key relationship? If we pass some different value, it will not accept, right? Because that value does not present in the parent table, so it does not accept, right? It throws an error. So to get that functionality here, what we are doing is we are configuring this stage table to make lookup with the cross reference table. Means it goes to the parent cross reference table and checks for that primary key source object value is present or not, and that belongs to the CKR source system or not. If both will satisfy, then only it allows the data to load into the stage table. Okay, I'll show you while loading the data.
Okay.
And here the row ID object. So if you select the row ID object, it lookups with the base object table, not the cross reference table. It lookups with the parent base object table. And whatever the value we get under party FK, suppose under party FK we are getting the row ID objects of parent table, then it we can configure this functionality. Suppose in party FK, if we are getting the primary key source object values of parent table, then we use primary key source object. It all depends upon the what type of data we are receiving to this party FK column. The party FK column is the foreign key column which presents in the child table. It has a relationship with the parent table, right? So, so if we pass primary key source object values to this child table for this column, then we have to use the cross reference table. If we pass only row ID objects of parent table data to this foreign key column, then we use row ID object. I will show you. Okay, I will show you that. So for
Okay.
now, you might not get understand, like, but I'll show you how the data gets loads. Okay, click OK, save it. Similarly, here we have SFDC also. I'll select SFDC. Okay, save it. So in MDM, if we define relationship, okay, it means that it doesn't mean that the records are related. Just we have created table level relationship, but at the record level relationships, at the stage table we configure as per the source systems. Let's create one more stage table for CRM. Stage CRM address. Yeah. Use all the columns. If you check here also we are getting pencil symbol. Okay, means we can add the configuration here directly here itself, or else once creation of table also we can add. Click OK and click OK. So now we have created three stage tables. Okay, and we'll create one landing table for address. We'll create one landing address. There is one landing table address is there. Landing address, landing party address and party ID, source, key city, postcode, country. Okay, one table is there. Okay, we'll create one more table. Already add state, address, city. We don't need this one. We don't. We'll simply use this functionality. Okay.
There can be a redundant column as well, right? Let's say if we don't delete address line 2, still we can use the same table, right?
Yeah, we can use. Uh, for your like understanding, I'm removing this like
Yeah, that's fine.
postal code, city, country, state. We don't have a state. We have, and street name. We don't have street name, right? Okay, we'll add that street name. Street name. Street name. We'll simply add street on the and party ID care 14. This is not recommended. I'll remove this one also. And okay, party FK because we used that thing, right? Party FK. So party FK. And here at the stage table level, I have mentioned, like at the base object table level, I have mentioned party FK as character 14, right? Here I use varchar 255. I'll explain you that one also. Okay?
Okay.
I'll explain you 255. And we need one more column, that is source system column. States, cities, zip code, yeah, address, language, state, country. Okay, everything we have. We have everything. We can change the display name anytime, but we cannot change the physical name. Okay, just remember that.
Okay.
We have created the required columns. Now, what I will do is like quickly, I will create one mapping for this address table to show you how can we load the data to the child tables. Mappings. There is an address. Okay, already there is already okay, one mapping has been there, so we'll okay, the address table staging CKR address. Okay, we don't use this because this is pointing to some different base object table, right? So we cannot use this one. Yeah. I'll create separate mapping that is different base object we have already present is there. So here I'll take stays map stays for CKR only will do CKR address, yeah, landing table, landing address and stage table. If you observe over here, okay, the cross combination will not be allowed here. See, if you see the stage tables, nowhere you see the stage CKR party M because that is already we used. Okay, did
Okay.
you got it?
Uh,
That CKR party already we have used, right, stage tables. That's why here even you cannot see this one.
okay. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Whereas the landing table, we can use landing party M and we can use landing CKR address also. But the columns will not be available generally. That's why we don't configure like that. Okay.
Okay.
So landing address M, stay CKR address M. And now you got the clear like understanding, right? Now you
Yeah.
understand, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So once the stage table we used in any of the mapping, that stage table will not be displayed at any point of time
Okay.
until unless if you drop that mapping. So we have created and we'll let's say auto map. Like some of the columns got auto mapped. Address line one, postal code to zip code, party FK to party FK, source key to PK source object, source system we don't configure. Okay. So here the party FK is there, right? I'll tell you like. So we have configured party FK to party FK, and here enable condition source system equal to CAR. Save it. Yeah. Validate. Yeah. Very good without any errors. And now we have created one mapping for that address child table. And we'll see the parent and child landing tables. This is our table. In it, this is one more our table. In it, okay. Let's see the data. How many records? There are three records for CKR source system, and this is the source key for parent. And here, let's go. Okay, we have already the data present. Okay, what we will do, AP India 518 NDL. Okay, I have created this table. Okay, already the data, some of the data is there. And okay, here we have street is there, right? Under the street, I'll create one street number, street NG. Paste it here, paste it here, paste it here. Source system CKR, SFDC, CRM. Okay, and here we have source key like this, right? Source key, source key, source key. We'll change the source key. Okay, unique source keys are there. Unique source keys are there. And okay, and CRM. Okay. I think till here you are clear. Like how we created here, same thing only we followed here. Okay,
Yeah.
are you clear, right? So
Yes.
coming to the party FK column, okay, here ETL team loads the data of parent column value here. Party FK. This is the foreign key column. So it has to relate with any of the parent record, right? How can it relate it? Through some value. So as I said, there is row ID object and PK primary key source object. Lookup systems are there, right? When we try to create the lookup systems at the stage table level here. So here, when we try to create, like it shown row ID object and primary key source object, right?
Right.
Okay. So even if you see here, the primary resource object which we have selected. Just a second. Yeah. So here we have selected primary key source object, right? So to this column, what value we pass is like parents source key value. Okay, if we pass parent source key value to here, then we configure primary key source object. If we pass, if we pass row ID objects of parent, suppose here, okay, this is the row ID object. Right? If we pass this row ID objects values here, we use row ID object. Now you got the point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So right now I'll use this one source key of parent. So in interviews, people may ask, what is the difference between that and this?
Mhm.
So what you have to say at that time? This thing. So if we take the source key value of parent, then we configure the primary key source object. If we get row ID object of the parent, then we configure the row ID object. Okay.
Yep.
So now I have configured like I have mapped only for CKR source system. That's why I have configured only these things. Okay. Now we'll load the data into the child table. So whenever we want, like whenever if we need whenever we want to load the data into the child tables, always the parent data should exist in parent base object table. That's it. Okay. The data should exist in parent base object table.
So parent, you mean the party?
Yeah, like in order to load the data into child table, data should exist in parent table.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So already the data exists in parent table. So we first we have to load to the stage table, right? So stage CKR address. M. This is our table. We'll load that. Refresh, refresh. Okay. Two records, it read, two records loaded into the stage table. And we'll load the data into base object table. So when we load the data from stage to base object, then only that lookup concept, whichever we configure right at the stage table, that lookup concept comes into picture. So what it will do is it always makes lookup. So here we are loading the data, right? So now when we run the load job of child, what it will do, whatever the data present in the stage table, it always lookups with, like right now we have configured the lookups on parent pk source object, right? What it will do, it always makes lookup with the parent pk source object of xref table and the row id system. If both these combinations exist in the parent table, whatever we passed over here, right? This one,
Mhm.
this combination exists in the parent table, then only that data, that record loads into the child base object table. Okay, let's see. It has to load two records in the child base object table. Okay, execute, refresh. Okay. So two records has been loaded into the child base object table. It means
Okay.
like it made lookup with this parent across reference table and data loads into the child table. If it identify, like if the lookup found, then only data loads into the table. Now see the data in both parent and child base object and xref table. This is address. This is okay. See here under the party fk, we are getting the row id objects. Okay, how these are related? I'll run the parent base object also. Okay, so here parent base object, whatever are there, the data present over here, like it is base objects always related with row id objects only. The relationship between the parent base object and child base object always related with row id objects only. That's why under the party fk column we got row id objects. Okay, it means this record is related with this record. Okay, so for this record the child record is this one, and for this record the child record is this one. Okay, now if we look at the cross reference of child under that party fk, you may see different value. Party fk, this is the party fk. Here the party fk is like right now you are observing the same values only compared to this and this, but here these values always point to the xref of this one. Okay,
Okay. Okay.
xref of child always points to the xref of parent.
Parent.
Okay, and we have one more column. This is shadow foreign key column that exists in child cross reference table. Whenever we configure the relationship, automatically this column will get created and populated. Okay, this column contains the data whatever we configured at the stage table. So uh, in the child table we are getting the source key values, right, of parent. That's why in shadow foreign key column those values are getting loaded. So why we have this column is to track the records. So if it has some it is pointing to the parent roid xref, right? How can we get to know that that particular data is being loaded from that particular parent record? So through this shadow foreign key column. So it contains the pk source object of parent. If we pass the roid object, here you will find the roid objects.
Okay, so basically this will point to first stage and in turn the landing table so that we
Yes,
can
yes,
track the data
yes,
lineage.
yes, yes, yes. From which source system we got the data, from which parent source system we got the data, like those things we can track over here.
Okay,
Okay. So this is parent and child relationship. Always just remember that this is the parent cross reference. If we configure the as a child tablable, if we configure with pk source object, it always checks pk source object with parent and roid system. If this both combination found, then only it loads the data into child table. Okay.
okay,
If we configure with roid object, it checks with the roid object of parent. This is roid object of parent, and it loads the data if that roid object present or not. Then only it loads the data into child table. Okay,
okay.
now you got right.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.